Excuse me while I whip this out.
Dirty Radio Classics.
Coming up next, it's This, That, and the Other.
This, That, and the Other.
He is the only man to ever ace a Rorschach test. Every time he goes for a swim, dolphins appear. Alien abductors have asked him to probe them. If he were to give you directions, you'd never get lost, and you'd arrive at least 5 minutes early. His legend precedes him, the way lightning precedes thunder.
Blah, 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 blah.
Troy Patrick Farrell.
The most interesting man in the world.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Let's start the party.
We'll do it live. We'll do it live. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Welcome to This, That, and the Other with your host, a true rock god.
Come on, man.
Troy Patrick Farrell. Now get ready, because here comes the host.
We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live.
Troy Patrick Farrell.
His name is Mud.
All right, well, hey, what's happening? This, That, and the Other radio show, dirtyradio.fm, Channel 2 Dirty Radio Classics. We are live and alive. If you are tuned in right now between 2 and 5 p.m. Pacific Daylight Savings Time, you're tuned in live right now to This, That, and the Other radio show here at dirtyradio.fm. We've got two channels there. One's Dirty Radio and the other one's Dirty Radio Classics, and you are at Dirty Radio Classics. You swipe left, you hit the play button, and here we are. You can also find the show and the station 24/7, 365 by going to my website. Super simple, drummertroy.com. There's a player right there on the main page. You just click play. Hello? Jesus Christ.
Blah, 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 blah.
Right out of the gate. Anyway, good thing they don't pay me for this. Hey, it's Troy Patrick Farrell here. May 3rd. May the 3rd be with you. Said no one ever. Today, I've got my friend and awesome drummer from the band RATT, Bobby Blotzer. And in light of the Atlantic Years being released with a collaboration of BMG and RHINO Entertainment, the Atlantic Years, 5 albums of RATT, the ones that were on Atlantic Records, come out June 9th. And so in light of all that, we're going to talk about what that means or maybe doesn't mean for RATT. It would be a shame. Shame. Anyway, we're going to talk to Mr. Blotzer about what he's been doing. Stephen Piercy, in a recent interview, said he is semi-retired. Which? And, but, you know, listen, does the fact that they're releasing their massive hits in a sort of a box set, if you will, we'll get all the details on actually what it is. Does that mean possibly something for the remaining 4 guys? You know, we don't know. We're going to find out. That's what I'm going to find out, despite the fact that you've lost all confidence in me and this show right now. Oh, my God. I've lost the confidence in me and this show. Jesus criminy. We're going to have Mr. Blotzer on. We are also going to talk about some news. The Rock Hall of Fame inductees have been inducted. Well, they got picked. It seems like based on who got inducted, nobody wins here. Nobody rides for free. I will continue to make RATT references throughout this show, and you can't stop me. So anyway, this, that, and the other radio show. Troy Patrick Farrell here. Live and alive from 2 to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You know, there's been a lot of ups and downs in the RATT camp, and I think it's exciting that this collaboration of BMG and RHINO is putting out the glory years of RATT and all those great songs. And I got to say, even after the heyday, as they say, the material remained top notch. And, it sounded like RATT and the songs felt like RATT. But when you hear a Stephen Pearcy out there, even as recent as within the last couple weeks, he simply doesn't seem to think that RATT exists post the passing of Robin Crosby. And he also, in the same sentence, sort of says, we don't have it together, but if we got it together, I would like to get it together, but we can't get it together, so I will be waving the flag for this RATT release June 9th. And it doesn't seem like it's out of the question that if the 4 remaining living members would get together, maybe there's Carlos Cavazo back on guitar. I don't know. The last time I saw him, he was driving a Ferrari with his wife, so maybe he's happy there. I don't know. But it would be interesting to see what it would take to get these 4 remaining members back in a room together. And not the ring and no ding of the bell for round 1. I'd be curious to see if there is somebody that can do that and what it would take to get them to get together to go out and perform these songs in the glory that they are. I will note that in recent months, Pearcy's been going out there. I feel like he's stepped up his vocal game. He's sober. He's living here in Vegas. I don't know. Maybe it's the air in Vegas. Maybe it's doing him some good. But he's out there rocking with his solo band and doing the best he can to represent RATT. But I don't know. While he does have the voice, can the 4 guys get together? I don't know. We'll find out here. Coming up soon in about 15 minutes here. This, That, and the Other radio show, DirtyRadio.fm, Channel 2, Dirty Radio Classics. It is Troy Patrick Farrell, the host with almost the most, but we're getting it together, all right? We're putting gas in the tank, and we're going to roll until 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Bobby Blotzer coming up very soon, right after the top of the hour. All right, hey, we are back live here, 2 to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We are rocking, just getting in to the core of the show here, right into the middle, just about there. And Bobby Blotzer from RATT is coming on the show right now. A few reasons why we're talking, a couple. One of them being that BMG and RHINO Records are going to release the Atlantic Years. That's going to be 5 albums. The Atlantic Years, 84 to 91. And that is a limited edition box set celebrating RATT's massively successful period where all 5 of their studio albums were certified gold, platinum, or multi-platinum, of which I have one in my poker room. This comes out on June 9th, and it's going to have all 5 albums remastered on 180-gram black vinyl. Nobody Rides for Free 7-inch single, a one-page replica tour book featuring rare and never-before-seen photos from RATT's personal archives. I wonder if they, and we're going to get into this, since they have not been together, who collaborates to put all this stuff together? Do they get together for this? I'm kind of curious. There's going to be an 11x17 Wanted poster. Obviously, the big hit, Wanted Man, bumper stickers, replica backstage pass, and a guitar pick in a custom lift top box. Hey-o. The CD set features all 5 of the studio albums in a side-loading box. And that includes, of course, the original members, 4 of which are still there, and 1 remains in our memories. Every time we hear those songs, it's the 5 guys. And so, yeah, let's get Mr. Bobby Blotzer on the phone, and we're going to clear up a few things that are going on. I got a couple questions. Kind of wondering what's going on. This is a pretty massive thing to happen, and to not hear that there's a tour being announced in conjunction with it is quite interesting. So let's get him on the telephone right now, phoning into Southern California. This, That, and the Other radio show. It is Troy Patrick Farrell here on Dirty Radio.fm, Channel 2, Dirty Radio Classics. Oh, yeah. Call Mr. Bobby Blotzer, drummer of RATT. Let's see if he answers. If not, we'll play some more music. Oh, I feel like he's there. Bobby Blotzer from RATT. How you doing, buddy?
I'm all good, baby. What's shaking?
Not much, man. I appreciate you coming on my little show and actually talking some RATT with me, because there is, quite a thing happening 1 month and a week from today, and that is the Atlantic Years being released, those 5 massive classic albums. And I kind of feel like that part of it is very exciting, but I feel like there should be another announcement coming up. And I don't know if you're here to tell me that there would be, but I sort of expect that, where are the tour dates to support this? Because I got to tell you, and like your friend of mine, Eddie Trunk, said, toe to toe, song to song, we both agree that RATT, musically speaking, hit-wise, the videos, I would say is a step above Motley Crue, who are out there doing stadiums with Def Leppard. So where does that put RATT? Is there any possibility that the 4 remaining members will ever get back together to celebrate the history?
Well, that's the long time golden, question, isn't it now? I mean, okay, you just hit me right out of the gate with this thing. I feel like I just got my hands up in the air, don't shoot, okay? So, yeah, fuck, I don't know, dude. I'm always hoping that this is going to go down for my own peace of mind, in my sleep at night, when the rat-mares that I was having for 8 years doing the litigation were pretty disturbing, and it's better now because it's all over, that bit of it. So now that it is over, that is where everybody should just brush it off, Not, if we could go have a war with Japan and then sell their fucking TVs, 10, 15 years later, I think RATT can get up there and shake their butts, make some money, make the people happy, the kids come out, etc., So, we're talking. Me and Steve talk about it all the time, and then, we're trying to get a hold of Warren. We have somebody in our ring, so to say, in a corner, who's hopefully going to work with us, for us and with us on a managerial level, and he has reached Warren by the telephone, which we haven't been able to do. It's okay, if he doesn't want to talk, he doesn't want to talk, But I think he knows that me and Steven want to do it. There's some complications, and I don't want to speak for Steve and stuff, but him and his partner, Mr. Crucier, have some, sloppy ends to tie up before this happens, with or without. It's just too vague right now to speak of. It has to happen, though. I mean, if it doesn't happen with this new release, which is we've had other greatest hits, probably like 5 or 6 of them. I don't even know. I don't keep count. I just look at what's on the check when they come in. But, this one's a big one. So it would be great if we were doing this. I would hope we would do it next year. Obviously, it's late in the year now. Getting to be late in the year. It's too late to mount a tour, which is generally booked the year before, around August, September the previous year. Next year's 40 years since Cellar came out. So that's when I hope we do it then. If we don't, I feel like it's inevitable that I don't know. I think everybody's got to realize that the fans, want to see this outfit one more time up there in all the glory, and yeah, like when you talk about Motley on this outset here, RATT's always crushed Motley musically, I think they got more press, movie stars, high explicit sex, murders and shit. So they were always in the magazines, and you know what? I mean, they deserve what they got, but I don't think they want to go toe to toe with us. That's for sure.
Well, let's talk about that, because Motley has in some way been able to celebrate their drama by, the dirt and the movie and getting back together and sort of the ins and outs of these guys having their issues. Vince having his issue, Nikki died, Tommy has had problems with, in marriage and spousal abuse and, just all sorts of stuff, but somehow they are able to get back together. Bands like Journey are currently on a tour right now where the singer is just waiting to be fired. you've got Neil on one side, Jonathan Cain on the other, both equally suing each other but yet they're out on tour. So what happened where, whatever drama happens in these rock and roll bands that, what makes a Journey and a Motley Crue still tick and be as big, if not bigger than they've ever been, where a RATT is like, where are they? Why couldn't that get figured out? Or is it lack of managerial guidance to go, hey, all right, we've got whatever drama internal, let's harness it and use it as energy to get out there and expound on that? What's the difference between what happened with RATT versus a Motley and a Journey that's out there right now?
I get you. That's a good question put in that sentence there, that long sentence. Listen, I mean, it's not, you would never think that someone, as huge and widespread as Journey would, succumb to this kind of, internet babble. Now, I take I know that I was on the internet at times, quite a few times, thanks, and I was airing dirty laundry, man, because I was not letting certain people like Steven and that sort, I'm quitting the band, I'm going out to play the tune. It's not gonna go without somebody understanding that, this isn't reasonable to us, the other guys in the group. So that's either way. I wish I would have, in hindsight, not spoken up. But I can tell you this, like with Journey, and I'll tell you a couple more bands that my attorney handles. He was handling the Rascals, which was a 60s band, with a lot of hits. And Mark Thorner of Grand Funk, they have litigation going on. And it's insane because these guys, the Rascals are like 80, and some of the guys are actually laying in the hospital bed with a litigational thing going on in the court. It's a joke. It really is. It's taken the life out of me as far as the love of the game here. I can't bring I'll come back with the mothership RATT, but I'm not really set up to go, hey, let's put something together, Kerry Kelly and Robbie Crane or whomever, I went through so much in that litigation, and that wasn't the first one because we were at it with Steven in 2002 for 2.5 years in federal court. It was intense, and it was costly, and it just, what it costs you in your spirit and your heart and your soul, that's where it broke down for me. So right now, I'm kind of retired. I know I can go out and rock and tour, but it would have to be starting with RATT, I think, because that's the level I want to do it at. And I think we've had some pretty huge offers. I mean, we had, and this is no joke, we had $1,250,000 offer to open a new arena. And everybody turned it down. I was shocked. I was like, man, these are the kind of decisions that chipped away at the infrastructure of doing business in the band, But I don't have any, really grudges that I can carry around anymore with these guys. I just don't. It's not healthy. And, I do love RATT, and I love the guys. I know if we all got into a room and we were looking eye to eye, everybody would start laughing and cutting up jokes, and it would be a little awkward at first, but I've been there, done it with this. I mean, a band that's been around this long, we've done this, been there, done it, been there. You know what I mean? So I don't know why we can't do it when others, probably more salacious and dysfunctional, like a Motley Crue. I don't know. I have one theory. I'll lay this on you, and then you go to your next question. But my theory is you can't be a democracy in a band. It doesn't work. You got too many people voting. It's just, you need a leader. And I think that's what Motley has with Nikki Sixx and Alan Kovac, their manager, our old manager. Those two lead the charge. Nikki's always led the charge. And you know what? They listen, and they know where the big stuff is. They still want it. Some of us maybe in this band don't want it. I don't know. I don't talk to Juan, although I did shoot a call out to him, left him a message, but I never heard back, and that's okay. He's always been 1 hour late since we were 16 years old. Maybe he's just late getting back to me right now. I got a good family, surrounding me here, Tanya, Jameson and Briggs and the cats and the dogs and the silver spoon and all that, it's all great. But there's that part of me, man, that has to get those, dancing feet up on that stage,
Well, usually it's, the motivation is the money, and they figure out, all right, the stages are plenty big. We can all be up there, and, we'll roll in. If the show starts at 9, I'll walk on stage at 8:59. If the show ends at 11, I'm on my bus at 11:01. And that's something I saw firsthand on the Motley tour that I did opening up for them in 2014. So, if a huge offer to open up, an arena for, over $1 million isn't motivation enough. What do you think from your perspective? Maybe the timing of that was all wrong. Maybe now, when people need money, it's more of a motivation. But now the offer's not there. But what do you think is getting in the way of you guys getting in a room, going, listen, we're all at our age. There is a massive release coming out. I mean, not even just the CDs coming out, but also, all the packaging that's coming with it. It's very old school, celebrating the way music was delivered to us and celebrating the music of RATT. What would it take for you? It seems like you're willing to get into the room. Piercy's willing to get into the room, and I don't expect you to speak on behalf of anybody else, but what do you think the missing link is to get the 4 remaining members of RATT into a room to just go, hey, can we get up there and do this?
All right, let's see. Well, like I said a few minutes ago, Warren has stated, to somebody that if we do this is likely going to be, holding down the managerial position. And he said he was willing to get in and listen, which is way more than he's said. He said nothing, really. I mean, I only hear tidbits from mutual friends, that he speaks to. So I can't speak to, he just kind of says he's done. I don't know if that's really where his heart is. I don't know. We make good money sitting on our asses at home, and it's been really a blessing that our royalties have grown in such a way that, it's lucrative not going out. And then for the mind baggage that certain people think it's going to entail, which history, has proven that happens. That might be the fear factor. And I hope that if we can all get into a room, simply it would dissipate very quickly, in my opinion. And everybody knows how well we are received globally still to this day. And new fans, old fans. I mean, all the shows from, like the Motley and Def Leppard run and whatever. And even when we were out there, on the last run, there's so many young people that they get right up to the front of the stage, just like we did, all of us out there when we were kids, and go to a concert. We'd always make our way up in front. So I could see that from the stage. It was pretty awesome, and I want to deliver. I still got game in me. I just need those guys to bring it out, or somebody. Nobody has. I'm soured after that 8-year litigation nightmare. Fuck. Yeah, it tainted everything up for me.
Well, let me ask you about that. Not necessarily the litigation; it's been litigated enough. But do you have any regrets, or do you think the situation between the 4 remaining members would be any different now had you not gone out as Bobby Blotzer's RATT Experience, which morphed into a version of RATT, which, by the way, I think represented the brand and the band in those songs very well. And I think that's what a Stephen Piercy strives to do. But I also feel like for him, listen, it's easy for the singer to go out and do these solo bands and be their name and play the music. But I still feel for him, even though he's in some ways accepted the fact that the 4 of you guys may not get back together, that I still feel the urge to do that is in his mind. Do you think things between the 4 of you guys would be any different now had that not happened?
Well, it wasn't just that's one of the factors in the aggravation level, that I did take that out, but I was the one trying to, I don't really want to rehash that whole story.
Of course not.
It's to me, gut wrenching. But
Of course.
I think see, there were things after that where, when those three guys, got me out, voted me out after the court shit, then they bounced Warren out. So it was a flip of the power and the control. So I think to some degree that plays into it. It doesn't with me. I don't care. As long as I'm getting even money, even voting rights, let's go. But man, it's hard. It's hard to think what's holding this up, I mean, there's stuff I wouldn't say out in public that I have my thoughts about. But I don't know. It's all a guess. It's going to happen, I think. I can't imagine it's not. Next year would be the year. It's getting for the 40th anniversary, like I said.
Well, Piercy's out there, representing and flying the flag, as he's done on and off for decades. And Warren gets out there occasionally and does the Kings of Chaos. Have you done any jamming at all? I mean, you have done some with Stephen Piercy, in fact.
Yeah, well, I've sat in with a few of my friends' bands when I've gone to see them. It's, party band and clubs kind of thing. But no, I haven't wanted to. I've been coming out of PTSD world here from that. But Steve and I jammed with him. That was great, and him and I were going to pull together and go tour. And he's like, well, let's wait and see if we get this rapping on his feet first. But at first, when we were talking about that, my position was, look, you need a new band, and there's somebody working for you that I can't even come to a gig as long as he's in that same breathing air. And, till then, we just talk on the phone, and we're bros, and we're longtime brothers, and I respect him and love him, and I know he does with me too, I would pull together with him if we could come to term agreement. If Warren says, I'm never fucking going up in those terms, then I would say to him, let's me and you pull forces together and bring it, with the integrity in which I tried to do with my version in 16. We worked hard. We rehearsed hard to bring that show to that level, and people got it. They got it real quick, and they were all about it,
Well, it's interesting you mention, when the members sort of go off and do their own thing, they build their own camps. You've built your camp. Piercy has his camp behind him. And, one thing you and I have, off the record spoken about is there one person, you mentioned, Kovac, or is there one manager or one guy that would be that all four people can trust to have the interest of RATT and not any one member? Because, Piercy can't come and bring his camp into the party because that wouldn't happen.
Piercy doesn't have a camp, really. He's got his partner, which is his wife, and Christy, and she's great, man. She is really, I think, brought Stephen into a different realm. He's cleaned up everything.
Yeah.
And he looks good and singing good out there. Looks great. Stephen needs musicians surrounding him to play our music like we do, which that's, in my opinion, not there yet. But
who is the the Mother Teresa that could bring the four of you guys together and say, hey, listen, I don't represent Blotzer, the Dalai Lama. I don't represent Warren or Stephen or 1 hour late, but I represent RATT, and you guys are going to work for the band RATT and not for each other. Is there somebody out there that can get this together?
There is, I think, but there never has been before. Because, and see, it's kind of odd. I need to withhold my thoughts, because right out of the gate, I want to just go, hey, in the past, all of us would get on the phone, chew the ear of the manager for an hour and a half. 2 hours later, the phone rings, it's Bobby. Then it's this guy. You know what I mean? So that sort of thing, I'm willing to just go 1 week, one meeting with everybody for an hour on Friday or something like that, and let them do the majority. Yes, and that, as I stated on the outset, there is somebody that we all respect who's a known manager right now that is behind the scenes pulling very hard and wants this to happen. And so many people do. It's amazing how many people that I know, and just not just fans, but my personal friends, they say things and they make it like, well, dude, why can't you guys, and like you were saying, just, get there 10 minutes before the gig, which I have been doing for the last 20 years. I stretch out and warm up in my hotel room. I'll get dressed. I get into a car that picks me up, brings me backstage. I'm ready to go within 5 minutes. And then afterwards, I just do that to decompress. And if I thought they had a problem with any sound or with anything on there, I don't want to, when everybody's all fired up from the stage and the adrenaline, go, hey, dude, what was happening over there in Loving You's a Dirty Job? You fucked that up. See, that's when it gets really bad.
Yeah.
So for anybody, for any band, But we got somebody, and let's hope that. Right now, I'm going to be doing a lot of interviews, for Warner Music on this. They've been sending me a list of stuff that I'm going to start doing. That'll be coming out, I guess, in the next few months. But I hope those guys are too. I had to spend about 10 months to get everybody to even speak up about a deal with Warner that we were doing. And I couldn't even imagine why they were not doing that. We all got the same letter. So there's some internal business, but it was for our best interest. So I just wish everybody would take the band as their best interest for their business interest and their artistic endeavor, because it's way bigger than any one of us will ever be,
Well, and that's really kind of the point, is it's about RATT and not any one person. And I think once everybody can somehow find a way to get beyond that, then you guys are out there for the RATT. What involvement did you guys have individually or collectively with this release coming out June 9th, the Atlantic Years on BMG RHINO? Because it notes that there's a little bit of a tour book and some photos from the personal archives. Did you guys somehow individually or collectively get together, put this together, or did you guys not have very much involvement with it?
Well, I can start with my position on that. I was involved from the get-go to this moment, in the designing of the cover. The idea, the concept for the cover was my idea. And then, thankfully, all the members chipped in. There's a lot of pictures that have never been out, that are personal photos, etc. Backstage, in the studio, on the road, all that kind of thing that are kind of fun. My idea was to have sort of an Exile on Main Street cover scenario for each of the records, of the 5 records that are coming, they're going to be vinyl and CD box sets. Then they're newly mastered. And, I spent a lot of time on this, and I appreciate that everybody else got their head into the game too. It sounds incredible, and it's a fun package, Hopefully, who knows, we can do a new record. We always have material, and we always work up material like that. That's never been a problem.
Well, something Piercy said in a recent interview was, ultimately it seems that he kind of really feels that the only real RATT music are these 5 albums, and anything post Robin, he just doesn't really quite embrace it. So I'm curious to see what your response is to that, and then also what would that mean for him thinking that moving forward, maybe even just recording a new single. How do you guys get over that hump of him really, because it seems like he really, like everybody else in the band, I'm sure, misses Robin, but feels that anything post Robin doesn't count, and what would that mean for new music down the road, even if it was a single?
I think that I don't agree with Steven's position on that in any way, shape, or form. Well, let me rephrase that. No, there's a couple things I don't like, and it changed when Robin was out. The chemistry changed for sure. It wasn't for the better, but we still have great songs. I mean, were they as great as the first couple, 2, 3, 4 records? I don't know. Probably not, but they were still good. I think Steven has said that so much and told himself that much that he just won't have a part of believing that the other records do have, merit. I mean, let's face it. Detonator came out in 1990, and right when it was getting released, it was just changing over to 91, and that's when all, things were changing musically. And the label thought that was going to sell 5 million copies, and this is what they were saying to us, And I don't know, I was like, okay, great. That would be nice, sure. But, it got dumped like everything did. It's still, sold just under shy of 1 million. It's probably over 1 million by now. I just haven't got my platinum yet. Atlantic, thank you. I think we got a tight band as long as, Stephen, Warren, and me are up there surrounding ourselves, and Juan in there, great, Just get along, everybody. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, well,
Seems easy enough to me.
A lot of bands are celebrating, they're out there celebrating their catalog, and if there are any fallen members of the band, they're celebrating them, or guys that are no longer part of it. And, we're coming to that age where, just last week, Aerosmith had announced the Peace Out Farewell Tour, where Joey Kramer's not going to be a part of it, but, there's talks that he will definitely be involved in the video aspect of, on the album covers and the videos. And
I had heard that he's in, so.
Oh yeah, no, I'm hearing it's John Douglas is going to be out there, and but while they will sort of carry a little bit of the Vegas show where they've got screens showing all the albums and clips or whatnot, it does include Joey Kramer, but just not in a live sense, and that's something that and if anything, there's a motivation to the brand, the band, the brotherhood of RATT, and one of those guys is Robin Crosby, who. If you could call Robin right now or think about what he would say about you guys getting back together, what do you think? Because Piercy says he talks to Robin every day, and I believe that. He spiritually talks to him in some way where he maybe looks for guidance or just says, "Oh, fucking Robin, if you only knew what was going on." What do you think Robin would say about the fact that maybe there's a chance you guys can't get it together in light of this release?
Robin never got anything from within the restraints of the band, in that we weren't doing things. He was like, why can't we just, do it? Why do we got to fight and talk and this and that? He would get frustrated. And him and I would always talk about that. I think really, in all honesty, him and I were the driving force business-wise, trying to keep things moving, in an accelerated way, We were more motivated, I felt. And he felt the same way. And I think he would be going, dude, you're sitting on your ass. You want to make some money and make the fans happy? Get up and let's go do this. We owe it to the fans. We owe it to ourselves. And that's, I know, is what he would say. And frankly, I did hear Steven say something about that somewhere. He just said, probably to me on the phone. But Robin, I have dreams. Nightly, dude, I have RATT dreams. They were Rat Mares hardcore here for a while.
Yeah.
It's just recently been like, okay, we're back on the road.
Memories.
It's like, it's cool. So Robin's been there a lot, and I always like that. I love Robin. I miss him.
Let me ask you about this. On this release coming out June 9th, and this is the Atlantic Years, the 5 albums of RATT. Is this an entirely remastered? And who did the remastering? Because Beau Hill, I think, it produced at least the bulk, if not all 5 of these albums. But Beau Hill also, was recently in the news, kind of saying out of everybody that he had to deal with when recording RATT, he goes, well, Blotzer was my least favorite guy. And listen, I've been that least favorite guy in many situations, so I sort of get it. It resonates with me. I'm curious your thoughts on that.
Okay, well, it's real easy. Beau Hill is disliked by everybody in RATT. Everybody in all the bands, the big bands he's done, Warrant, the White Line, all these bands, they couldn't stand him. He is a dictator. Blowhole is his name, because that's what he is a blowhole. And the reason he singled me out on that is because my book, when that came out, I told the tale, the true story about him using the studio, our studio that we paid for, we had locked out. And he would insist that we were there at 10 in the morning, driving through LA traffic for me and Juan come from Redondo Beach, and the other guys, traipsing in from Hollywood, whatever. This was in Santa Monica, and the studio. And, after we would leave, we would go from 10 to 6. Then we would all split, and then he would bring Fiona in there and record her record. And I called him out on that in my book, and I'm sure he was like, shit. But I don't give him, I appreciate his input and some of the things he did in this, but I also, regret some of the things that we had to put up with him. It was hard,
How much of a part of the sound do you think he is, though? Because, those albums, I mean, he has, just like RATT has a signature sound, Beau Hill has his signature production, and those two together are, kind of, as a fan, synonymous. I mean, do you think RATT would have sounded exactly the same with a Michael Wagner?
I know Michael, and I've known him for a very long time. I don't think Michael would have been geared properly for this band. And I don't want to even talk about Blow Hole anymore. I've given him enough seconds here. But to answer that question with a swoop, he was good with Steven and driving the melodies and the lyrics into a better, position for the song. Musically, he didn't do anything. He restricted me. He restricted some of us. Juan just played do do do. I mean, live. If you see people that are musically inclined and they can see what we do live, or I'll speak for myself that I do live. It's definitely outside of the box of the record. Because if I played the way I play live on the record, it just didn't work for him, and he would fight me on it and others for what they were doing. It would be. And then you look like the bad guy in the studio. Dude, why don't you just play it? Just do what he's asking, blah, blah. And so that's the way it came.
Sure.
But it's still great. The records are great, and I'm proud of them. And for what he gave, I appreciate it, and that's the last time I'm ever talking about him. Till my next book.
So
just kidding.
When this comes out, though, remastered, what are you aware of what kind of tweaks happened to it? What you guys did?
Yeah, of course. I was getting those sent. Yeah, the same engineer producer that did. I can't. His name is escaping me right now with all this Beau Hill talk, but he just did the Iron Maiden, and he's done a lot of different remixes for a lot of different bands, and it's pretty trippy sounding. It's way sharper, if you will.
Is that Kevin Shirley? I'm just kind of looking up something.
No,
here.
It's not Kevin Shirley.
Okay.
Don't press me on that, because
no worries.
I'll start racking my brain. We'll be here for an hour and a half.
So, in the news lately, we go back to Motley a little bit, and this kind of brings in all these bands from the heritage era of the Ratts, the Warrants, the Motley Crues, et cetera, where Motley's out there battling, and they're doing a lot of PR right now, showing that they don't play to tracks. And I'm just kind of curious. I mean, RATT, I don't think, is a band that's ever had a tape machine on stage. Is that true?
Well, we did one time, and it was disastrous. Just for the horn section in Way Cool Jr. And, there was an extended horn section part that didn't make it onto the record on the cut. It was, just in the... it's all through the song, but there's an extended exit of that song that wasn't, put on the record. So we tried to do that, but it was in the stages of using tapes where it wasn't, there wasn't in-ear monitors, so you could hear everything perfectly clear. And, it was almost like somebody standing over there with their reel-to-reel or their cassette player, and, okay, when the chorus comes up, push this button. And when the chorus is done, push pause.
Yeah.
So when the chorus comes back up, push play. So all of a sudden, it would overlap a little bit. And honestly, I went over to the side of the stage one night in such disgust. I went up to the thing and broke it on the side of the stage. I said, "We will never use this again. Sorry."
Yeah, well, the thing about that is, I think a lot of people are forgiving of that, going, hey, well, they're not going to bring the horn section out tonight. You know what I mean? It's the five guys, but they want to try and emulate something that's kind of cool. Motley's kind of battling right now that, Tommy's not playing drums. Nicky's got his arms up in the air and his bass is still going. Vince holds the microphone out to the crowd, but yet there's still a vocal going on. You guys never had any kind of tape or tracks going on such as what they've been accused of, yeah?
No, I just said that. The only time we
Just-
ever had tape was for Way Cool Junior Horns.
What are your thoughts on what's going on and what they're battling right now, and Mick Mars, and the accusations from him?
They're not the same guys that I, was so tight with. Especially Tommy and me. Were extraordinarily tight for many, many years. They're different cats now. We all are, I guess you could say that. But like, I could easily accept a call to and from him or whatever. These guys sort of just blockade everything of their past for whatever reason. I don't know. But I know how Nicky is, and he's a little too cocky. I mean, he's got a right to be to some degree, but not when it's against people that he's known forever, especially with the Mick Mars. Although I don't know what's going on with that. It's not my business. I don't really care. I'm not a fan of Motley's. I couldn't listen to a song on the radio of theirs for even... If all of a sudden I hear a riff start of Motley, my hand is so fast to that knob. And it's like... but that's just me, There's a lot of bands like that too, though. I mean, including RATT, perhaps. But, my lady and my kids will never let me turn RATT off the radio, that's for sure. But they dig it. And my friends do, and that's awesome,
Well, I feel in anticipation of this coming out, and you're talking about doing some press, and, it's still a month away. I have a feeling when this comes out and you guys start speaking about it, you're going to be asked about it. You're going to be doing radio shows, podcasts, TV, whatever it is. I feel like that is going to be potentially, hopefully, the momentum for everybody to go, wow, okay, the four guys that are there, there's something here. There's something that means a little bit more than what our differences are. We're more together than we are different, and we should go out and celebrate this one last time, 40 years next year. Who fills... Not that it's possible, but who takes that stage? I think it's stage right. Who fills those shoes of a Robin Crosby in a live sense? Should RATT get back together in some way, shape, or form, whether it's one-off or a tour next year?
I want to say one thing, and I'll answer that question at the end of this.
Sure.
Personally, people, it's a bummer because when I do interviews, there's so much recent disturbance in the force of RATT that it kind of takes up a lot of the air in the room and talking about the life of RATT, which was great. We had so much fun. I mean, we had way more fun than dysfunction. But somehow, and this circles back to your question and your point earlier about why is it you said, Motley's out there and this and that and these, what other band? But I can't. I think that for us somehow we get obscured even in our own mouths, minds, hearts that it sucked. I'm sick of it. I can't fucking do it. It sucked. It sucked. It's like, but then we get together when there's been a lull of not being around each other or something, and once we get together, it's so fun. Everybody remembers how much fun and funny and creatively satisfying that it is. So after that travel, I forgot what your question was. Sorry.
Well, I was kind of curious. RATT has always been a dual guitar band, and without Robin there, I mean, does the Carlos Cavazo come back? I mean, any thoughts on that?
I would think so. Carlos will probably be invited back if Warren would want him back. I can see playing with Carlos, I guess, I'd rather see Michael Schenker on that side of the stage. That was pretty fiery with him and Warren up there. Those two together was and especially at that point in time,
Yeah.
they were on. It was crazy. I mean, they were battling
Sure.
every night. It
Yeah.
was a battle. It was amazing. I see clips from it now. I'm like, geez, man, that's wild. But that was a hard time too. With Robin falling out of the picture, and things were things weren't going as good as they had been on all the other tours. That's right at the footsteps of grunge. We were in arenas, same arenas we'd headline every tour. There'd be 15 to 18,000 seat arenas, and some nights you'd look out there'd be 7,500, 8,000, 10,000. It doesn't look good from the stage when you're seeing that. I'm sure people don't dig it either. They kind of feel for you. I would guess. I know I do. If I
Sure.
see a band play and they'll have a good draw that they want to represent. But that was the kiss that led us to a 5-year breakup. And after that, we came out smoking. And it's up and down, man. It's feast or famine in rap. It's always been that way.
Well, rock and roll has no rules, and there's no script, and there's no reason why you guys can't figure this out, and why this can't be figured out, where somebody can just go, listen, we're all working on behalf of RATT, and that's not any one of the 4 guys that's there. And I would like to propose the name of the next tour, and it would be called the Herding Rat Tour. Kind of like herding cats. We're going to Herding Rat Tour. But I listen, I feel in light of what is going to happen come June 9th when this gets released, I hope it doesn't get shuffled out the door, because the catalog is massive. And there really is no reason why to celebrate the catalog you guys put together, and Robin Crosby's involvement, and just to help honor him and what he contributed and how important he is to the band. And Piercy, I feel like there's something there, that there's some enough common ground that we'll figure it out.
Well, Robin, again, he put the band first. And I'm always in that on a level of, loyalty to the band. I'm loyal to RATT, the band.
Yeah.
That band encompasses the players in that band, and that's what Robin always was. We'll see. I mean, I'm very proud of what we did. I know I might not sound like it, but I look at. There's not many that stand up to RATT, that's for sure. And for RATT not to be on that top shelf and be on that stadium tour or whatever, it's ridiculous, because we're somehow top shelf band, but yet we're kind of our arguing and our woes that we've suffered through have kind of just clicked us down. But we're not down where a lot of the bands now that are headlining, we're not down. I don't know, and I'm not talking crap on anybody, mind you, but I want RATT, the entity, what it is, to get its due, come back out with a big show, the way we used to do it, go out and conquer, kill and conquer.
Well, a lot of bands that have, the absence makes the heart grow fonder, and and the absence and the turmoil and the other stuff can be bookend by this next release, and maybe it's one last world tour and you guys go out there and do what RATT should be doing. I don't know. I'm rooting for it. I know, and I hope individually you guys are, and maybe it'll come together. It would be a nice way to bookend a career that's had ups and downs, and music that has been I was spinning songs leading up to the interview, and I'm just like, oh my God, I remember. Yeah, that's a great tune. I can picture the video without even seeing it in my head, hearing the song, to body talk, and I feel like everybody else feels the same way. So if the band realizes that the passion of the fans is as big as it is, and how big it will be come June 9th, maybe there's some motivation for everybody to take the gloves off and put the instruments on.
Well, everybody's got to be reasonable, and that's the problem that we've had. They're not reasonable. It's like a situation where everybody's fighting for just their way or their thing, what I mean? I don't. But in the meantime, I'll be out on the golf course with a bunch of crickets and teeing it up and going to the lake and whatever. I just kind of mosey around.
Right on. Well, Listen, I appreciate you coming on my show and talking about that and talking about that release coming out June 9th, RHINO BMG, The Atlantic Years. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the remasters. Hey, just real quick before we let you go, did you follow along with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Any thoughts on who got inducted? Looks like Iron Maiden got snubbed and everybody's all up in arms.
This is like a broken record.
Right?
Every year
Isn't it?
we have to hear people bitching and complaining. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't. I mean, I want everybody to get in except for the ones that shouldn't be. They're under that banner, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Missy Elliott, Willie Nelson. That's not that means that they're not great in their own right for their, followers and their camp of music, but they're not rock and roll. So I think they should change that name for sure to the Music Hall of Fame because it's too widespread to be called the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And, honestly, us guys in our league, unless you're absolute, hugely just like top of the pops, you're not getting in. But Iron Maiden draws, millions of people on their tours. And there's people that you just shake your... And there's other great, great bands that haven't made it in. I mean, Chicago's not in there. I could go down the list. But
Sure.
I should, if I'd have known this question was coming, I would have prepared a list for you, Troy.
It's okay. I'm just curious on your thoughts about it because everybody, like you said, every year goes up in arms about it. It's like, listen, if the Rock Hall of Fame discredits itself by who it nominates, then it's not a big deal because it's discrediting itself. So who cares? But that list got submitted today, and everybody's all crazy about it. But I'm just curious what your thoughts are.
Well, until Anvil gets in there, there's no justice. Okay, so that's all I can say. All right, brother, love you, man. And
love you too, man.
Anybody hearing this, you're awesome. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for coming out, Bobby Blotzer from RATT, and we talked Atlantic Years and what it might take to get the band back together in a live fashion, and maybe it is that right manager. We don't know who that manager is, but maybe he's out there and he can get them together, and they will be out on tour celebrating 40 years of Wanted Man. This, That, and the Other radio show, Dirty Radio.fm, Channel 2, Dirty Radio Classics. My name's Troy Patrick Farrell. I want to thank Bobby Blotzer from RATT. From RATT. Here's a little Way Cool Jr. Bobby Blotzer from RATT was on This, That, and the Other radio show. You can always find my show at drummertroy.com. You can also find the archives. It goes to on demand and podcast after it replays. I try to get the interviews and whatnots typically after Saturday. And then you can go check them out on your own time.
Playing the biggest rock bands of all time. Dirty Radio Classics.
Hey, it's Troy Patrick Farrell from This, That, and the Other radio show. Tune into This, That, and the Other every Wednesday live from 2 to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here only at Dirty Radio Classics.